Hey, girl. Hey, welcome to this unapologetic collaboration. And I am so excited because it's with me, Jeanette Peterson, and Patrice Malloy. And we are going to talk about all the things concerning AI, finances, wealth building, business operations and systems. Also, what unapologetic means to both of us because we are
Mhm.
two unapologetic women, and I'm excited for all of it. So, Patrice,
Yes,
uh,
ma'am.
say a little bit about you, and I'll say a little bit about me.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, thank you for that introduction. I'm super excited to be here with this collaboration. You are such a powerhouse. I'm so glad we got to connect and I got to learn a little bit more about you. But I am Patrice Malloy. If you have not met me before, I am the Affluence CFO, aka the Wealth Care Concierge. And I'm also somewhat of an AI alchemist. A little bit about me, my background is fintech. Before fintech was a word. So, it is finance, it is technology, it is automatic robotic process automation. It is AI. It is machine learning. It is augmented reality. It's all the things that you kind of see in the finance field now. And it started like many, many years ago. So that's what I do. And in my free time, when I'm not, fighting crime, I support women in building businesses that are sustainable, scalable, and saleable without burnout and overwhelm because we are leveraging the power of AI to essentially multiplicate ourselves so that we can do all
Yes.
the things without actually physically having to do all the things.
I love that because I'm a homeschool mom. Like I don't have time to do all the things. And there's something about repeatable tasks that I just loathe. I cannot stand them.
Mhm.
Dishes, laundry, like any of that. I don't want to do any of that. So it's the same with my business. If I can figure out a way to automate all of these emails, I'm going to do that, not because I'm lazy, but because I like the puzzles. I like the
Mhm.
complex problems. I like solving that. I don't want to do the easy stuff. My brain is not made for that. I just can't handle it. It gets overwhelming and I'm like, I'm out.
Seriously. Listen, I love that you said that. If you like it, I love it because I'm not one for the whole redundant administrative tasks either. Not that it's like beneath me, to say, but it's like, listen, that's not a good use of my time. It's not an income producing activity. It's not something I can do to spend more time with my family and my loved ones. I need to get those things off of my plate. So I love that you mentioned that. Random side note, I said multiplicate. I meant to say duplicate and or multiply. So let's just
Yeah.
don't come for me, y'all. I knew what y'all know my heart. You know what I was trying to say.
Yes. So I come from tech also. I come from cybersecurity. So I came from like a networking background of trying to connect computers over long haul communications and trying to fit things together and making sure that the puzzle pieces were always there and you're not losing
Mhm.
any data management, data keeping, and making sure that nobody's trying to steal your data, right? But AI and machine learning was always something that I didn't exactly understand as much because it's not something that I did. It was all like the connection, not
Mhm.
the words and communicating with the computer and telling them what to do, right? My dad is a programmer by trade, so I understand some of it, but I want to leverage AI more. But I also don't want to leverage AI so much that you feel like you're talking to a machine when you're talking to me.
Mhm.
You feel like you're talking to a person because I want you to talk to a person, but I want AI to do everything else.
Mhm.
So how do you do that? Like how do you like automate everything except for the human part of who you are? Is that hard for you?
So I'm going to say no. And I love that you actually brought that up because that's the one thing that people are afraid of, it seems, right? That AI is going to take over, it's going to take their jobs, it's going to do all these things and replace them. But the reality is, we're unable to be replaced, right? That human element, that touch, that connection, that ability to connect with one's soul, right? With your words, with your facial expressions, with your actual physical touch is something that artificial intelligence just does not have the capacity to understand. So I don't think that that's an issue, or I have not seen that as an issue, I should say, for over the past 20 something years, right? Before it was launched to the public. The thing is, you can absolutely prompt the artificial intelligence to sound like you. So, for all my chat GPT users and all my lovers of things like Perplexity or Copilot or Gemini and all the things, you have to understand how to prompt the actual artificial intelligence piece because it's learning you. And as you feed it more information, as you talk to it, as you let it see some of the things that you've written or your bio or your resume or, you know, trainings or live presentations that you've had, it's going to start to learn how you operate and then it's going to start to speak like you essentially on your behalf. So you have to be very mindful and intentional about the way that you prompt it and that you teach the way it should talk. So that is one way I think you can absolutely still have that element without worrying about it sounding robotic and, um, lifeless, if you will. but you can absolutely do it.
What is your favorite prompt to use with ChatGPT to like
Mm.
learn more about your voice? Because I will be like, all right, ChatGPT makes it
Yes.
sound like a sassy millennial woman, and it gets closer.
Uh-huh.
But like, what are your prompts that you use?
Oh my god. So there's a couple things. So there's this thing on the actual ChatGPT like profile or account that says custom instructions. Have you ever seen that?
No, this is
You can
new.
customize it.
I'm
Yes. So
writing
one
this
of the
down.
things, yes, ma'am. So I'd highly recommend, and we can absolutely do a training where we do this like live, right, in real time, where I show you what happens. But you can put things in there, like I mentioned, your bio, how you want it to address you, how you want it to sound. But you have to do a step first, right? So
Wait, hold
essentially
on.
what you do,
So I can tell it to say, yes, queen. Refer to me as
absolutely.
queen. And oh, yes.
You can prompt it that
Yeah.
way. Yes, you can. But you have to do something
Okay.
first. So my favorite prompt is, and this is how I was understanding how to really like have it help sound like me and be able to speak on my behalf. It's essentially saying, hey chat, act as if I am a ghostwriter. Give it a
Ooh.
piece of writing that you've created or a presentation that you've done, like the transcript, and say, help me identify my tone, my mood, my vibe, my personality, my voice, and how I teach. And it'll give you that information. And you'll keep asking it. If it sounds like you can, it's great. But if you need some more information, say, well, help me dig a little bit deeper. I believe, right, that I sound like a millennial woman who's X, Y, and Z. So you can say that to it and say, rewrite it in a way that fits this description. So you really kind of, like I said, teach it, train it, play with it. And then once you get that, that's what you're going to put in your custom instructions. It'll say,
Ooh.
this is my tone, this is my vibe, this is how I want all of my content to sound. So you
So
don't have to keep putting.
you're asking it to tell you all the
Mhm,
things to put in itself. I love
absolutely.
that. This is what I want you to do, and then I want you to use the information you just gave me to do the thing that I'm telling you to do.
Mhm.
Yes. That's
And when it's
good.
in your custom instructions, thank you. You don't have to keep rewriting the same prompt. It's already there. It's learning. And the more that you start to write and create with it, it essentially thinks for you, right? So it's like there's another thing called Mia. You can actually talk to chat. So if you download an extension called Mia on Chrome, you put your microphone on and say, "Hey Mia," or chat or whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, I just want to talk to you today. You really are like having a conversation with it and it's learning about you. And so as you're having these conversations, it's storing that in its memory. And as you're writing and as you're creating other content, it injects that information into it. It literally is evolving.
I love this. I love this. I used to work for a company called Booz Allen, and
Hmm.
everybody in Booz Allen is like tip of the spear. Like they're all like learning new things and always trying to like innovate. And so one of the guys that I used to work with, he went from I don't know what he used to do, but then he started going into machine learning and augmented reality and
Mm.
like really deep into AI. And he was showing me how he was creating this code to create like a cartoon. Basically, he would take images from let's say The Simpsons or Bob's Burgers or something, and he would tell it
Mhm.
like, "Now I want you to create the next 2 seconds of the video," and it would learn and it would create the next 2 seconds of what it thought it should be next. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Yo, that is legit. Like you are creating a cartoon essentially based on the information that's already had to create something new."
Mhm.
I was like, this is the this is interesting. This is the tip of the spear.
Yes.
This is like the new frontier of information technology and how things can be.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
girl,
when
that
you're
was so
using
poetic.
say what?
I said that was so poetic. I love how you just
So when you're using AI with
Mhm.
finances, do you use it to like um is it like trying to figure out what's next on the plate or is it like well, how do you use it with finance?
So there's a number of different ways. So first and foremost, most people are already using it with finance. If you've logged into your bank account and you see a chat bot that's talking to you, that's artificial intelligence, right? It's been fed a whole ton of data, information, inputs, insights, and it's essentially use that data to be able to respond to you. So you're using artificial intelligence already. From my perspective, some of the things that I'll do is take really large data sets and say, hey, based on this information, based on historical trends, help me come up with a plan to help them move forward, to help them grow by, 27% over the next 2 to 3 years. So you can use it that way. If you're not very familiar with finances and how to do accounting and bookkeeping, although I highly recommend that you don't do it by yourself, you can ask artificial intelligence or chat or something else to take information that you have, like your profit and loss statement, or maybe your balance sheet, and say, hey, based on this information that you see, where are some of my leaks? Where are areas where I'm spending too much money? Where are areas where maybe I can have opportunities to change my pricing so that I'm able to hit my profit margin? So you can use it in a number of different ways. Obviously, analytical, research-based, to maybe find your competitors and figure out what they're doing as far as pricing. You can use it to create graphics, create presentations, all kinds of things. So like I said, like when you think of artificial intelligence, it is a whole, like you said, it's a whole new frontier. It's a world of like opportunity. And if people are not using it, they're going to be left behind. And I would hate for that to happen. Like, get on the bus early. Like, early adopters are usually the ones that win. So,
amen to that.
Just saying.
So I know that you are a Profit First certified consultant, and I love Profit First. So let's say I'm like, okay, I don't know what all my taps are supposed to be. I could just be like, hey, ChatGPT, this is my current income. What are my taps? Will it understand that? Or do I need like to tell it, hey, this is what Profit First is? Or do I tell it, read this book? How would I do that? Or just like, hey, Patrice, I need your help.
All those things, right? So you can actually feed it the Profit First book and say, based on this, give me key summary points, pull out the most important pieces. Based on this book that I've just uploaded, right, in PDF format, what are the target allocation profit or percentages, that I should be using based on my annual revenue? So you can do that too. If you already have that information, then you can say, is this right? Like, say I'm at the 100,250K and my profit's supposed to be 10% or 15%, and my operating expenses are supposed to be like 35%, right? You like ask it if you are in the correct place, essentially. And if you're not, how do I adjust to make sure that I am in the right tabs, right? Or caps. So it's all of those things. So there are different ways to go about it.
I love that. I love that. So when you come on with a client and you're like, hey, I'm going to start with your bookkeeping, and then we're going to go into a fractional CFO type work so I can tell you what you need to do with your money. Do you start with Profit First? Is that like your go-to, or do you like try and do different, techniques?
So it's a couple different things. So I always start with a diagnostic of their QuickBooks account.
Yeah. Yes.
So I need to understand what's happening historically. I need to understand what's happening now. Where do we identify areas of, like you said, hemorrhaging? Maybe you're spending too much. Maybe you have duplicative, applications or softwares or something else, and you're wasting a ton of money that you don't even know, because we're so used to putting things on like auto debit or our credit card. So it's like you're not even paying attention at the end of the month of what you're spending your money on. So that's something that a lot of people are like, where did all my money go? Like, I saw it come in, but where is it, right? So that's why I start with the diagnostic. I understand what's going on in the background with your financials. Make sure that things are categorized appropriately, because a lot of times people that may not be familiar with the accounting space are not categorizing things properly. They're not actually reconciling their accounts. They think that just if I click match or transfer, like that's it, but that's only part of the process. So I find that a lot. I'm like, oh no, boo-boo, like we only did half the project. Like it's just like, it's only half the battle. So like we got to do the rest of it, and then we can start to understand what we need to do. So it's a process, and everybody's in a different place, right? So it's unique to that particular person. It's unique to their goals and dreams. And then we craft a plan based on that.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Because that's kind of like where I come from too. Like I have to first analyze what you've got going on. I can't give you a solution if I don't know what the problem is. I need to figure that out first. Let's see where the problem is, and then we can come up with a holistic solution. But first, we got to get in there. And like,
Yes.
I use the word audit because I'm just like super like pull up my nerd glasses and say those words. But people don't resonate with that word audit. But really, it's just like, I want to see what's happening here, get a lay of the land, so that way I can help you be better and stop, like you said, hemorrhaging in the places that you're hemorrhaging. I love that. I love that. So I do business systems, right? I love operations. I love the holistic part of it. I am like a top down view of everything. And I know
Mhm.
enough about most of the pieces to get you guided into a specific area over things. But I'm not an expert at every single part of it. But I am an expert at automation and delegation. Like, what can we delegate
Mhm.
and what can we automate? Because I don't have time for that. Like, I don't have time. I like to be, we talked earlier about German culture and like how efficient the German people are as a whole. I lived,
Mhm.
for those of you who don't know, I lived there for a couple of years when I was 22, 23, 24-ish. And I saw this was like a pivotal part of my brain coming together, right? As like a like solidifying in all the things. And I was like, okay, these people just have roundabouts because a stoplight or a stop sign takes too long. Let's keep people moving. And I saw the highway
Yes.
and the Autobahn, and I was like, oh, they don't stop the Autobahn if there's a like a thing that's happening. They just take out a piece of the ground and put a new piece in when the ground is messed up because they don't want to repave the entire pavement. And I was like, this, the way they do it, like their culture is that of efficiency. How do we make people
Mhm.
get to where they need to be faster? Like have less drag on everything. And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. So I'm like, I homeschool. I am active in my church. I'm active in all these different a Girl Scout leader, blah blah blah. Like I don't have time to do all the nuanced things that have to do when you're running a business. So I was like, how do I do this faster? How do I do this more efficient? How do I do this without having to take 5 hours to upload this email and send it out and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I got to figure this out because I don't have time for that. So I'm not going to be lazy, but I'm going to be strategic and figure these out. So I love the systems that were put in place to help a business go faster. And I feel like that's
Yes.
also what you do. You're like helping them
Mhm.
get the money faster and more
Mhm.
efficiently. And I love that we both have that in common.
Thank you. Can you? So I love the fact that you said top down, first of all, because a lot of people are doing bottom up type of work. And it's like, no, you can't see everything from the bottom because you don't know what's happening at the C suite or at that level anyway. So you need to start at the top. So I love that you mentioned that. So can you just tell us a little bit about your audit? And I know people don't like the word audit. So I actually say comprehensive review or analysis, but it is, or diagnostic, but it is essentially an audit, right? You have to understand what's going on. But can you tell us a little bit about how you would work with a client as they come to you? What's like the first thing that you do? What is the first thing that you peek behind? How do you work with them after you identify all of those areas in which you find a room for improvement, et cetera? Like walk us through your process.
So I've worked in the back end of a lot of seven-figure businesses. And so I created this thing I call the seven-figure systems heat map. And it goes
Ooh.
through several different sections of life that people are doing in their business, right? So it's like business, finance, marketing, but also relationships, health
Mm.
of a person, because people don't realize that when people are making seven figures, they have changed so much about who they are as a person from six figures to seven figures. So let's figure out how to get your mindset there also, because if your mindset's not there, you will never get to seven figures. I don't care how hard you grind, it's just not going to happen. So
Mm-mm.
like I think it's got about 35 questions and it's got like all these different marks where it says yes, no, whatever. And you go through there and we look at, okay, is it your operations that needs the most work? Is it your sales system that needs the most work? And so we start there because I need to know all the things. And then I need to see inside your business because that's how I operate as a visual. So I'm like, okay, what
Mhm.
does your Google Drive look like? What does your convert kit or your active campaign look like for your emails? I need to see your flows. I need to see all of these things because that's how I understand and can help you. I use a program called Go High Level. It's a white label
Mhm.
and it's called Funnel Gorgeous. And I need to see all of that inside there. I need to see your websites, I need to see your funnels, I need to see how people are accessing your programs and your courses. What happens when somebody accesses your course and they don't pay anymore? Like I need to
Mm.
know all of that. Where are you dropping the ball? Because I can't help you get all the balls in one order if I don't know where the balls are being dropped. So we start there and then we kind of rack and stack. What is the most important right now? What is causing the most turmoil for you internally? Because sometimes it's my sales is I only have like 3 that are bad, but I feel like that's what's harming me the most. And so I'll go with what
Mhm.
they say, for the first one because they need to get that quick win. And then I'm like, okay, we got your sales system in place. Now let's get your operations in place so we can hire more people. Let's get let's get these things in order so that way you don't have to worry about any of that. And we're building a well-oiled machine here because I want everybody who comes in contact with me to have a scalable, sustainable 7-figure business. That's what I want. So that way we can, like we were talking about earlier, we can give more, we can affect the kingdom. Me personally, I can't go to Africa and be on the front lines, but I can send some money. I can supply some goods, and I can't do that if I ain't got no money. My good looks is not going to get me through the Walmart line. Okay.
That part. Oh my gosh. I love that you said that. Okay. So Fun Gorgeous. I forgot what her name is, but came from the ClickFunnels world, right?
Julie? Is it
Yes.
Julie?
Yes. And her partner. Okay. It's like, I liked them a long time ago. But yes, Go High Level is incredible. So when you're in the Go High Level, what kind of analytics and data are we looking for to make sure that we are getting those balls in order?
So the first thing I look at is like, are you actually utilizing your CRM like correctly? Do you have a pipeline? Do you know where all your sales are? When was the last time you contacted those people? Are they qualified? Do you know if they're qualified? And a lot of people are like, I've got 800, 700 people in here or more, and I haven't talked to them in years, and I'll send them emails, but I don't know if they're even qualified anymore. I'm like, we need to go back to that process of, is this a qualified lead? Because I don't want you sitting in the DMs talking to these people and getting to know them and wasting your time because they're never going to buy. And I don't mean that in like a harsh way, but fact is fact. If they're not going to buy, I don't want to waste time getting to know them if I can't help them. And it's more of like a help thing, not like they're not going to buy, but also I can't help them. They don't have the income. They don't have the mindset. They don't have the whatever I need them to have in order for me to help them. They need to go somewhere else. Maybe I can be like, hey, that's great. I need you to go see this person first before you come to me. Okay. I need you to go hang out over there. So that's kind of the first thing I do is I look at their pipelines. I look at their automations and see when the last time they were talking to people were, and just really get a hold of that. Because I feel like if you're not contacting people, you're not making money, you're not having leads, like active leads generation, then you're having a hobby. You don't have a business.
Can you say it louder for the people in the back? Listen, I'm like, yeah, don't you the messenger, but you got an expensive hobby, honey.
Right?
That's what you got. Yes, I love that you said that. And I also love the fact that you said you have a holistic approach. I do that too with clients because just like you said, it is a mindset thing. It is a spiritual thing. It is a physical thing. When we are not feeling well physically, it's hard for us to show up in our business. We cannot build breakthrough businesses if we are not our best self. So I love that you said that. And then also that like financial wealth, right? And I call that my wealth care framework, but like you have to have a certain mindset. And when we are bogged down by maybe stories that we were told or things that we grew up in or money trauma, because many times people have trauma that they may not recognize or they may not want to admit. But the reality is a lot of people can remember an instance when they were like, oh, either it's okay for me to have money or it's not okay for me to have money. And then we kind of live lives based on that. So I love that you talked about that holistic approach. I think it's so important for people to understand that because you still have to have balance, even though I know work-life balance, right? And corporate was kind of like, not a real thing, but you have to be able to be with your loved ones, right? Because what's the point of building a business if everybody hates you at the end of the day? So it's like, how do we do that? How do we create that balance? How do we still have the impact and the joy in our business, but also be able to like have that overflowing for our family and show up for our family? I know, girl, after building a business all day, you're like, huh? Like, don't ask me not another thing.
Yeah.
Because I've already made 367,000 decisions today.
Right.
I don't care what you want to eat for lunch, get you some McDonald's. It's like,
yes. Figure it out. Can't do it.
Yes, please. Yes. So again, when we talk about automation, I think it's very important because that is a way or an avenue for us to be able to take some of those mundane administrative like things off of our plate so that we don't have to focus our attention on things that aren't allowing us to operate in our zones of genius and brilliance.
Yes.
Yes. I love this. Okay. One of the things we also talked about is why it's important to have these systems and processes and procedures in place, especially for those who want to build those amazing 7+ figure businesses. So, what is your take on that? Why do you think it's important to have those in place?
Oh man. So in January, I moved across the country. So we lived in Missouri. We're a military family. I served, and my husband is still active duty. And so during that time, I was not in my business every single day, right? Things were still
Mhm.
happening in my business, but I could not be in my business every single day. And then one of the ladies that was working for me said, "Hey, I need to go back to what God is telling me to do, and I need
Mm.
to step back from your business and focus on mine." And
Mm.
if somebody tells me something like that, I'm never going to be like, "Oh no, you can't do what God told you to do. You need to work in my bit." Like, who would I
Mm.
be, right? That would be very incongruent with everything that I'm saying. So I was like, "No, please. I love you. Please follow God over anything else that anybody ever tells you. So go do that." And then I felt God telling me to move past the person that was helping me, who had been helping me the longest. He said, "I need you to ask her if she's all in, and if she's not all in, I need you to let her go." And I was like,
Mm.
"God, she's the only one that's like in it with me." I
Mhm.
was like,
Mm.
"Okay, so I'm gonna do that." So I did, and she said she could not be all in with me, so I had to let her
Mm.
go. And I was like, "Okay, God, now what?" He was like,
Mm.
"Build the system, girl. Build the systems. Like, do the things.
Mm.
Like, you got this. You can do this until you wait for me to find the right people for you." And I said, "Okay, God." And this is like
Ooh.
being surrendered to God and like asking him what's next and like not using my own power. Cause girl, I am good, right? But I am not God.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. Ooh,
So
ooh,
I was
ooh.
like, okay, God.
I
Ugh.
got the
So
goosies.
so we had to drive from Missouri to California, and it took us with kids about 7 days.
Oh.
It took us a long time. Okay, so in the car, we would do like 4 or 5 hours a day in the car, but I mean, like, we would do slow because we got the kids and they're young and we want to see the things, right? I
Mhm.
hope we never do this again. So let's go see all the things while we're out here.
Oh.
Um, but I say all that to say that when I built those systems, my business did not stop. And
Mhm.
in fact, it grew. So I went
Mm.
back to, what do I need to do to move the needle in my business? What can I automate? A lot of the things that some of my admin were doing, I automated those processes so I didn't even need her anymore. And I was like, I loved the lady, right? I loved her, and she'd been with me the longest. So I was like making things for her to do so I could pay her, but really they could have been
Yeah.
automated. I really didn't
Mhm.
actually need her. I just loved her and wanted to pay her. But God said, "No, you're not doing that no more. You're being a waste of my gifts that I'm giving you and a waste of
Mm.
my money. So stop doing that." And I said, "Okay, God. Yes, sir."
Oof.
So I say
Oof,
that to
I love
say
that.
you can do more with less if you automate a lot of the things and you systemize a lot of the things that you don't even need a person to do necessarily.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. So a couple things I took from that. So one, with the caveat of automating, I think automation is incredible, but let's not automate things that don't work. Let's make sure we're automating systems, right, that do work and that actually give us the results that we're looking for. That's the one thing. When you talked about surrender, I love that you said that too, because God is always talking to us. He's always presenting opportunities, and he has a God of provision and abundance and increase in growth and all the things. And I think that a lot of times too, we feel like, I got this, God. Like, I can handle it. Thank you, appreciate you, but you can you will call you a little bit later, right? And I know I've been guilty of this too, but I'm like, wait a minute. I have to surrender. When we do surrender, it has to be a full surrender, right? Not just like
Yes.
partial. And I know I've been like, oh, did I fully surrender? And I've had to like tap myself on the hand a little bit too, like, okay, girl, you got to just, because it's like, all right, Lord, just I give it all to you. I give
Yes.
it all to you because mm, I don't have the capacity to understand all the things that you already know and have designed for me. So I feel you on that surrender. It can be challenging, but it is something that is necessary, especially if you're going to take that step towards the next phase of your transformation. So I love that you brought that up too. Mm.
it's the single-handedly hardest thing I've ever done, especially because I feel like I'm a high achieving individual. Like I can do a lot
Mhm.
of things. I have the capacity to do a lot. And I had to realize, but I can do even more if I let God take over a lot of the things and I'm not worried about these things. And if I'm following God's obedience by doing this business, homeschooling
Mm.
my kids, God is going to have to, he gonna have to show up. And if I let him show up, I can rest more and I can be
Yes.
okay with, taking days off and like doing it by myself for a season or whatever
Mm.
that looks like, right? Like it's
Mhm.
just so much better if I come from a place of this is God's business. He has to provide all the things and it's not on me. If I'm obedient, I'm doing my job, the income, the people, the things, the connections, that's on him. I'm just going to keep
Mm.
walking calmly. I'm not running, I'm not rushed. I'm not like coming out like I need to have this because
Yeah.
that's where I was coming from. And that energy is not fun.
It is not. It is not. It's I feel you. Instead of being magnetic, it's repelling to people. People can feel that like
Yes.
anxious energy. And then we're not supposed to be anxious. As
No,
God's
you're
people, we
not.
are not supposed to be anxious. So listen, been there too, girl. Had all those sleepless nights.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
ooh, Lord Jesus, please take this wheel, honey, because I just cannot. Yes. I love that you said that. So another thing we talked about was, uh, what does unapologetic affluence
Yeah.
mean to both of us? Would you like to
Yes.
start with what your definition of unapologetic
Sure.
affluence is?
So I come from this place of when my podcast is called Unapologetically Unstoppable. Right. And when I came up with that name, it was all God. And I was like, okay, what does this mean? What does unapologetic mean to me? And what does that mean for life? And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
unapologetic to me means I'm going to go after whatever God is asking me to do full force, 100%.
Mhm.
Like if anybody else is a naysayer, even my mama, I love her to death. But if she's like, I don't understand what you're doing, that's okay, mama. This is my mission from God. Okay. This is
Mhm.
what God told me to do. You don't have to
Ooh.
understand. You don't even have to like really support me. I just need you to know that I'm going to do it. And that's just what's
Mm.
going to happen. So being
Mm.
unapologetic to what you're called to do and saying, I don't care what anybody else thinks as long as I'm making God happy. Like, obviously, like I want my
Ooh.
husband to be on board. And if he's not, we're going to pray through it. But I still know what God is telling me to do. Okay. And
Mhm.
then the unstoppable is like, let's build an unstoppable business where it is rock solid with operations and systems and anything that you're supposed to do and building it so that way it cannot be torn down because it's built on a firm foundation of God and systems. Done.
Mm.
Like let's build that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sign me up, honey. Sign me up.
And so when I met you and you were like,
Love
"Yeah, I
that. I
do
love that.
unapologetic affluence," I was like, like yes, let's be unapologetic together. Let's. What does that look
Yes.
like? Let God. This is a God connection right here.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so, 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 so good. I love that. Unapologetic for me too is we talked about this a little bit, but like a lot of times women, especially women of color, other, marginalized groups, we are taught that we are supposed to be meek and humble and modest in our desires and in our goals. And some people are told not to even have goals because there's no
Yes.
expectation of you to be successful. And I think that that's such a, it's so detrimental to us because women are some of the most brilliant beings on this earth. They are resourceful, they are intelligent, they are just incredible, and they make things from nothing. Very much, I would say that that's a skill that was, you know, brought from God. He's given us
Yes.
that skill, that
Yes.
resourcefulness to be able to do that, to essentially make something out of nothing. And I think that we had to turn that on its head. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be meek and humbled and modest and be struggling to pay my bills. I want to have all the money. I want
Yes.
to have all the wealth. I want
Amen.
the opulence. I want the luxury. I want the income and the impact because I want to be able to give from my overflow. I want to be able to do my tithing. I want to be able to tithe $250,000 a year. That's on my
Yes.
goal. That is on
Yes.
my board. Tithe
Yes.
$250,000 a year. Be able to give to causes that I think are important for the forward movement of women as a whole. I think it's very important for us to understand the importance of finance, not just, how to manage your bank account, but how to build wealth by leveraging other people's money, by having diversified portfolios, by building multi 7, 8, 9 figure businesses. Because by
Yes.
building those businesses, we're able to employ people. We're able
Yes.
to change the economy. We're able to shift the community. So it's all of those things. And then the affluence is, I do not feel bad about being wealthy because one, it wasn't handed to me. Two,
Yes.
I do incredible things with it, right? And I want other people to be able to do that too. What is your kingdom cause? Are you fulfilling it? When you have money, you have the opportunity to do those things. So that's what it was for me. So
Yeah.
yes. Ooh, I
Yeah.
love
I love
this.
all that. I'm
Oh.
actually God has put on my heart. I don't talk about this very much because I don't know why. Because it's not fully formed yet. That's why I don't talk about this much.
Mhm.
But God has told me to create something called All the King's Women to
Ooh.
empower, to give them the skills to create bigger, bolder businesses because of exactly what you just said. When women are in the places where we can influence things,
Mhm.
we just think about different things than men do. I'm not a
We
man
do.
hater. I love my husband. I can't live without him. But the things that I think about are not the things that he thinks about. He'll think
Mhm.
about like, "Oh, babe, we got friends coming over. I need to clean the gutters." I'm like,
The
"We need to clean the
gutters.
toilets." Like, what about the toilets? What about the floor? What about can we vacuum first? Like, ain't nobody looking at our gutters, okay? Like, okay. But, like, really though, like, I think about different things. I think about, like, how can I help feed them? How can I make them feel warm? How can I make them feel and more empowered? But he just doesn't think about those things because that's not how he's wired. So when women
Mhm.
have the money, we can
Mm.
affect change in a bigger, bolder way than it can if just a man has money. That's why we need
Absolutely.
to create a seat at the table, but we can't do that if we don't have money because men think that if we don't have money, we don't deserve a seat at the table. So we need
Mm.
to create the table, get the
Mhm.
money, and invite them to the table. How about that? Let's create our own table,
Ooh.
invite them to the table. Okay, this is our table. We've got the money. You are more than welcome to sit here, but we are running this table. Do you understand, sir? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I love that you said that because I talk about that crafting my own beautiful mahogany table where everyone else can sit. Y'all can come sit with us.
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
because I'm like, I want to sit y'all a funky steel table anyway. Y'all know. They're in mostly in no shade because they have
No
clearly
shade.
found something that's gotten into their place, but it's traditionally older Caucasian men, and they
Yes,
don't necessarily understand some of the complexities that other people face.
they
Right.
don't
So I think it's very important, like
at
you
all.
said, to have women at the table because we do things with wealth. We are giving, we are thinking about the global community more so than just our household or what we can do. Right. So yeah, I love that. All the kings. Ooh, girl.
Yeah, God is bringing it out. I'm
Mm,
just being obedient with whatever that is going to be, and I'm here for it because it is.
I love that.
Even the statement is powerful. I didn't come
It
up with that. That was
is.
all God. That was all God.
Oh, oh. You know, yes. I love that. I love that. You know, I feel like we were destined to meet. We were ordained to meet because
Yeah.
I'm working on mine too, which is called Fem and Fortune. I feel like you
Ooh.
talked about the same thing, building the wealth. How do we do these things? How do we strategically hit the shortcut to going
Yes.
from, founder, which is nothing wrong with founder, but we want to be profitable, like
Yeah.
brilliant strategic CEOs of
Yes.
enterprises. That's what we want to
Yes.
do. Ooh,
Yes.
girl. I can just feel like my spidey senses are tingling. I feel like all the things can happen. Oh, I love this. Okay. This has been such a good conversation. I think that the listeners are going to appreciate what it is that we have let them think about, what has been sparked in their minds, in their thought processes, and hopefully in their hearts too, as far as what they can accomplish and what they can achieve. As we close, what would you want to leave our listeners with?
So, first, I want to tell them that you are not alone. If you have a big, bold dream in your heart, it was not placed there by accident. There's a reason that God gave you that idea because he thinks you can do it. And go for it. Just go for it. Walk the next step. I'm not asking you to build the entire thing. I'm just saying be obedient with the next step, whatever that looks like, and he'll give you the next step. He'll give you the thing,
Mm,
whatever that is. So just go with the bold, unapologetic, go with it boldly, unapologetically, and keep walking with whatever God has given you because it's not a mistake. and you're not alone. There are
Ooh.
other women out there who are doing the same thing, who are building big, bold, unapologetic businesses because they know that they can. Keep going. Find us.
Mm,
We're here.
mm. That's so beautiful. Dang, taking out my stuff, girl.
What about you?
Get out of
What
my
would you
head.
leave?
Get out of my head, Jeanette. So I was going to say something very much similar. So it's like now is the time to really step into your own power and desires, put yourself in the forefront, and go for what it is that you know is going to take you to the next level. God put that in your heart because it is something that you should be moving towards, not moving away from, right? God is not filled with fear. If it's something that He's placed there, it's because He wants you to walk in that divine purpose. And there's going to be something incredible on the other side that you couldn't have even imagined or fathomed. So I would definitely say that. So follow God in these decisions and in these times because things have already changed, quite honestly. We've seen, the economy, we've seen sales cycles increase exponentially. We've seen craziness happen with just violence and all the craziness that we see on the news. It's time for
Yeah.
us to really move into a space where we're doing something that's going to take our country, our communities, our families to the next level, where we're going to be thriving instead of being in a space or a place where it's very um, what's the word I'm looking for? Scarcity
Yeah.
focused, right? We
Yeah.
want to focus on abundance as opposed to scarcity. And the other thing I would say is just like Jeanette said, find us. And because we're talking about this, Jeanette, you have something that's coming up very soon that I think would be very much beneficial for the ladies, right? To know
Yeah. So
about. So
it
what
is
is it that you've got
called
coming up?
it's called the lead generation blueprint. And it takes you step by step through what do I have in my pipeline? How do I qualify these leads? Are these leads qualified? Who should I be talking to? How do I get more money in the door faster because I'm talking to the
Mhm.
right people? And it goes step by step on exactly how to do that. How to tag your systems, how to segmentation with your email list and all the
Mhm.
things. And it's coming up. It's a 9-day series and it starts September 23rd. And I'm so excited. So if you want to go to JeanettePeterson.com/systems workshop. And I'll leave that in the show notes. And just come. Just come and be filled by the information, by doing the thing, because information is abundant, but action has not been. So let's get into action and do these
Mm.
things to get your business to the next step.
Oh, I love that. Ladies, y'all need to stop playing around and get up on this get registered so that you can take your business to the next level, so that you get those systems in place so that we're not doing all the things by yourself.
But
All
you
right.
too, Patrice, what else do you have going on?
I do. So I have what's called the Blueprint Live Experience Reloaded coming up September 30th through October 8th. We're going to walk you through how to build a holistic business that's sustainable, scalable, saleable, and allow you to get back to putting your needs, desires, wants, goals, achievements, dreams in the forefront by focusing on your wealth care. So yes, I'm
Yes.
also going to put mine in the show notes because my link's a little bit longer, but it's unapologeticaffluence.com slash, I believe it's Blueprint Live Experience, but don't quote me. It's going to be in there because we like to do things that are verified. But yes, I'd love to see you ladies there as well. I think these two events are going to be so impactful, and I think they're going to actually they're interactive, right? They are
Yeah.
giving people quick wins so that they can actually see the shift in their business over a short period of time. And it's community focused, right? So you're, like you mentioned, you're not alone. You're able to connect with other women in the space who are looking to do what you're doing. And who doesn't love to be around a good girl, like a group of girlfriends that are
Yes.
successful?
Right? Yeah. The
So
vacation ladies. Let's
yes.
go on vacation. Let's do the things. Let's build
Oh,
our businesses. Yes, all of those.
oh yeah.
Let's
Oh,
make
a
this money,
vacation.
girl. Let's do it.
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. So that's what's coming up. I hope you put both of those on your calendars. Jeanette, this has been so good. Thank you for having this time with me. I hope we do it a lot more in the future.
Oh, we
Is
will.
there anything else you want to say
Definitely.
before we kind of close this out?
No, just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening. This has
Yes.
been amazing.
Yes, yes. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.